Hey, what's up guys? Today we were witnessing an insane best of 5 series in the FlyQuest versus Genji series at the quarterfinals of Worlds 2024. And Chovy was right up in his element. He didn't perform too well in the previous games, but in this last game he really showed why he's the best player in the world. And he was on his signature Smolder mid CS simulator. And today we're going to be taking a look at how he actually managed to land every single minion in the lane. I think at minute 10, he only missed 3 creeps. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be figuring out how does he manage his waves, how does he plan his auto attacks, which minions does he attack, which minions does he not attack. Because in the meantime, he was still harassing quad. And if you only miss 3 CS while having full lane control and harassing the enemy lane opponent, you're doing an absolutely fantastic job. So let's break it down. We're going to be starting off classic range versus melee lane. And what Chovy does is Chovy decides to put some damage onto the middle caster. Why does he hit the middle caster? Well, what happens is that actually the minion aggro changes in such that he gets a lot of harassing opportunities. So that's a very classical example, because the minion aggro now starts aggroing different creeps. And then he also weaves in some auto attacks onto Yone, which then allows him to eventually pull the wave. So because he auto-attacks the Yone as well, and he walks backwards in the lane, he can actually pull the wave and get the wave slow building a little bit closer towards his side. In this case, he does a really good job with his positioning in the lane. He misses 1 creep there. That's one of the 3 creeps that you'll see him miss. And for the rest, he does a really nice job. Just a very slow 2-wave crash right here. What does this slow 2-wave crash mean? This means that he now gets some harassing windows onto this Yone under the turret when he needs to CS. You see he's weaving in these auto attacks while Yone needs to last hit these creeps. He also managed to put the waves in such a way that Yone actually missed a lot of minions in the tower. You're going to see big CS advantage building up for Chovy in this particular game. And then what he does, he's now slowly hitting the minions and desyncing minion HP. But he is trying to, like, once again, stack these minions into the turret again. What is he trying to do? He's trying to go for a 2-wave crash. So a 2-wave crash into a 2-wave crash. Why does he go for that particular strategy? Well, that strategy allows him to get a lot of harassing windows onto Yone. And you see, one thing that he does really, really well is he's very good at recognizing what the next minion is to die. He doesn't auto-attack the minion wave too randomly. He actually does he's very reserved with how many auto attacks that he used. What I see a lot of my coaching clients, they just start nuking the shit out of waves. And because your auto attacks on cooldown, you're not going to be able to pressure the enemy lane opponent. And what Chovy does, he's very slow, he's very controlled, he's slowly building these waves. He knows that he goes for a 2-wave crash into another 2-wave crash. And then he gets the most amount of harassing windows in the turret, while also getting access to a lot of farm without ever getting into trouble with your auto attack timer being on cooldown. So one thing that Chovy does as well, right, is he's really good at recognizing what the next minion is to die, and he's really good at desyncing minion HP. So he's very good at creating opportunities in which that he's able to harass the enemy laner, while the enemy laner is forced to last hit. And you see that he's also very conservative with his ability usage, with his W and his E. He only uses it when he absolutely sees a guaranteed angle onto this Yone. And once again, he hits the minion wave. He walks a little bit further backwards. And you see that he's just very slowly stacking waves. And he's also really happy if the wave slightly comes back into his side, because that gives him a little bit more room in this lane to walk on. And he does a fantastic job also recognizing right here. That's the second minion he misses. He gave it one auto attack too much, which led to him losing the minion. In the meantime, he's also stacking up his passive and stacking up his grasp as well. He's getting closer to 25. And when he's at 25, I believe, don't quote me on this one, I think his Q slightly upgrades. I'm not a Smolder expert, but I think this is what we're going to be seeing right here. He hits all of these minions, he makes them all lower, and then he finishes them off with his auto attacks. So Yone just got a base off, right? And Smolder is still just rotating his first... he hasn't taken a reset yet. So what Smolder does, he extends the reset even longer because he's got no TP. Yone is kind of forced to reset there. Otherwise, he's going to be in a position where he's going to be stuck in lane. He gets the most amount of creeps right here. The most amount of stacks. He takes this beautiful reset and he's going to be much stronger than Yone right now. So far, we've only seen perfect lane fundamentals from Chovy. He TP's back to make sure that he doesn't lose a single creep. And he's got this massive CS advantage already popping up. Imagine facing off as Yone into Smolder, into your solo queue game. and you're locking into Chovy onto Smolder, you're not gonna have a good time because this guy's drilled the matchup. He knows exactly how to manage the waves. He knows exactly where to stand and also pressure the Yone. And he does a really good job at looking for trading times when his minions are already lasted or they're so high HP that he doesn't need to hot last at them. And right now he's especially looking to like keep the wave a little bit closer towards his side, because if he's now going to be hard stacking these waves into the Yone, he's actually going to give the Yone opportunity to potentially freeze or hold the wave on the side. There you saw him lose his third creep because he was too busy hitting the Alistar. Maybe a minor mistake, but if you look at it in the picture of the whole game, in the sense that his team is onto the grips, it's actually completely fine because it drags some attention from the Alistar away. And honestly, we're in a fantastic position here. So he does a little bit of scouting, and then he comes back into his lane. And you see he's got to be a little bit reserved because he has got no vision on top push. So he's very scared of a potential Fiddlesticks ult. He does a really good job managing the minions in such a way that he can get the most amount of value from them with his Q as well. His Qs now start to deal some serious damage as well. He's got some HP, makes him really hard to kill. And we're almost rocking at a 20 CS lead at minute 7, which is pretty wild if you say so. Like he's absolutely chovying, so to say. Because 20 CS, like if you look at it in gold value, it's about 500 gold up, and it's a lot of gold just in general. So he does a really good job once again, hitting all of these minions at the same time, making them low and then finishing them off with a Q. That's a Smolder special, and he's also got some nasty wave clear tricks up his sleeve, in the sense that he just uses his ult to fully nuke the wave, and he only gets 3 stacks of it. But as you can see, he is now up, and he denies Yone even more minions. And since their plan is just to skill, this is completely fine for Smolder, mainly because of the fact that, right, if he's just building a CS advantage like that, it's great. Experience advantage, just very small wins. Chovy is the perfect small wins player. He's going to be just CSing all of this nicely under third right here. As you can see, really, really solid job so far. 20 CS up at minute 8. And at minute 8, he's already at 85 CS. He's very close to the maximum, only missed 3 creeps. And you can see that he's consistently doing this throughout the rest of the game. And he therefore keeps his score up really high. So Yone just used his E. It gives him the opportunity to just look for wave clear. And it seems at level 8 with the current items, right, a W into Q hits all of the minions. And look at how the rest, he prepares these melees, hits them all, makes them lower, so that his Q can finish it off. And he's rotating around his Q cooldown incredibly well. And that also allows him to get so many stacks. I think he reaches about like 11 stacks per minute at the first 10 minutes of the game. Don't quote me on that. That's something that I, maybe only like 10, which is also like incredible, right? Because on Smolder, if you can hit your stack so early, it's a little bit of a snowball effect as well, because of the fact that your abilities actually get stronger, which allows you to get more stacks easier. So once again, he's also really good at recognizing when his minions are not going to be hitting and killing the other minions. And he's just really good at just playing it slow, letting the wave come out a little bit more towards the center of the lane. He's never really getting frozen upon. And if he does, he can always use his W. He's not really spamming out his W as well. He can always use his W, or he can use his ult to get him out of trouble if he is actually in trouble. But with all the vision set up, he has a very clear side to lean on. He is not that much in trouble. We see that we do got to be a little bit careful because the Fiddlesticks threat is insanely high. And Chovy is incredibly happy with this game state. So now the 10-minute wave is coming in right here. And we're going to be doing a little bit of a checkup after this particular wave state at his CS numbers. So he does the W into Q, finishing them off, and then still queuing the cannon at the end. And he's got himself 111 CS at 10 minutes, which we would call 11 CS per minute, which is incredible, right? He only missed 3 minions in his entire lane. And even though he cannot really base for... I'm not entirely sure what he actually got. It seems like he got like steel caps here. Let's see what he's basing on. Yeah, he got like steel caps. So only got steel caps, right? He's just, since he's CSing so much, what he can do is he can just slowly play out this lane, stall out the lane, get towards his Triforce, and that's when he's really going to be in a little bit better position. And also gives him more CDR, and it eventually is going to allow him to get even more stacks and more stacks and more stacks. And then as soon as he hits 225, especially with this slow game state, this is also that we saw in this Gen G game versus FlyQuest, it's just over. It's just literally over. Because Smolder is too strong, and there's not really much consistent tools on the FlyQuest side to deal with him. Yes, you got the Fiddlesticks wildcard, but it is just the wildcard champion. He did get caught off by once or twice. We're just going to be finishing off this lane sequence right here. Just show how he manages the rest of this lane. He's currently sitting at a 25 CS advantage, and it's just slowly increasing because he has a better plan on how to wave clear these minions. If you look at how precise he is, right, he's just putting a lot of mental stack towards actually hitting these minions because he knows that resources are like so incredibly important to take. I think he messed up one there more. So it slightly lessens the gap. But still, right, he puts a lot of mental stack, and he's got pre-planned ways of clearing the wave. Yes, it's a feeling clearing the wave, but Chovy's got a pre-planned way of clearing the wave. He knows exactly when and which ability to be using, so he can get as much stacks as possible while also getting all of the creeps in the meantime. And Yone is not really in a position where he can actually contest the Smolder at the moment. Mainly because of Smolder actually is quite strong in the early lane. Like, Smolder has deceptively high base damages. He's got the auto attack reset onto his Q. It makes him really hard, especially with the highest HP amount that he has, for Yone to contest. If you would be looking at this particular matchup in like solo queue, what you would be seeing is that usually around like level 7, that's when Yone actually can get stuff done, mainly because of the you do need to be able to manage your wave like to perfection if you play Smolder. Otherwise, you're gonna be in a very vulnerable position. But we're seeing, right, in general, Chovy does a very clear job on just managing the minion wave. And now when Smolder's got a little bit of a Q upgrade here once again, it seems like he's happy to use a little bit more of Qs onto the front minions as well. He's also evolving his way of using his abilities. At the beginning, it was very clear. Get all of the minions low, then finish them off with Q. And it seems like he's now able to utilize his Q onto the minion wave earlier. Right, like this. And then he sets all of the minions up for this next Q right here. That's what it looks like. So when Smolder hits 125, I think that's the breakpoint. Don't quote me, I'm not a Smolder main, I'm not a Smolder stack expert. But it looks like at that particular point, he's actually able to look for those Qs and change up his way of clearing the waves again, which makes it very consistent, gives him a lot of access towards farm, and in the end, we're going to be leaving lane with, just an insane amount of CS. We're just casually looking at 11 CS per minute, and especially in a best of 5 competitive game, right, in which that this is all the stakes. It's just really impressive to pull this off. Almost no mistakes here in this lane, setting himself up for amazing carry potential in the mid to late game, and it's exactly what he did as well. So this is a perfect example of this lane. He now has Triforce, he is set up, he's got a little bit of a 30 CS advantage. Chovy really well played in this final lane, and I hope you guys learned a bit of what he's actually doing. And what I really recommend for you guys is, if you want to like really look at Chovy's like particular out attacks in the lane, mainly because he manages the minions in such a way that he always makes sure to get the minions. Like, he never makes sure that his minions are like spread out and dying at the same time. If it happens, it's always close to each other, and he can finish it off with his Q, or he uses his out attack reset really well. The way he manages the minion wave, it's a form of art, and the amount of precision that's in there is it's really incredible. If you guys have any questions about this, about anything else, about this game, or just anything, just let me know. I'm happy to get back to you. And otherwise, I'll see you guys real soon with some more videos. Thank you for watching.